Well, hello everybody. Well, sorry that I either missed class today or sorry that you missed class today, but either which way, what I need to do with you is cover day 6 in chapter 6. It's not a difficult day. Hopefully you've already done very well on your quiz. We will get that graded and I'll get that in the computer really pretty quick. Things that you'll need in front of you today. You will need that half sheet with the square roots, the cube roots, and the fourth roots. We're going to refer back and forth to that quite a bit today. You'll also need the class example sheet for day 6. Don't be scared because there's a staple in it. They're really pretty darn quick. So, some other little things that you're going to see today, I'm going to go ahead and mention those. You're going to see some square roots of items that you know. Something like square root of 36. Means what times what is 36? Of course, you guys know that answer is just plain old 6. You're going to see some cube roots of numbers that you already been practicing. The cube root of 125, well, we know that is 5 because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Now, here's where the twist is going to start today. You're going to see square roots of a variable to a power. I'm going to give you the shortcut to this right off the bat. Whatever number's hiding right out here, since this one's a square root, there's going to be a 2 right there. This answer is going to be b to the 6th divided by 2, which is just going to be b to the 3rd. Here's how come that works. If I take b cubed times b cubed, when you multiply, you know our rule is to add the powers. This becomes b to the 6th. So notice that's what I started with. So guys, if you see something like the cube root of x to the 18th, that answer is going to be x to the 18 divided by 3, which is x to the 6th. That's going to show up here in a little bit, but not yet. What I want to do real fast, guys, is just kind of show you what's coming your way. We're going to work with radicals today. You're going to see some perfect cubes today, some perfect fourths today, maybe even a couple of perfect fifths today. But concept-wise, you'll have it. I just want to point out a couple little things for notation. Whatever little number set in here, for our purposes, it's usually a 2, 3, or 4. That's called the index. This symbol right here is called the radical sign, so the radicand. And then the number under there is called the radicand. So the radical sign contains the radicand. Okay, but what we'll do is we'll look at simplifying. So guys, have your sheet right in front of you real fast. You should have filled that out before this video started, but just to make sure you're 100% correct, make sure that your numbers match these numbers right here. We've been practicing them, so I assume that you're pretty good at them now. But you will want this sheet in front of you today because we're going to use it quite a bit. And I got a little thing covering up some of the numbers, but you should have had those numbers. Now, guys, I'm going to fill this out my shortcut way. I have these memorized, 8, 27, 64, and 125. And then now I do this. I know there's a 2, a 3, a 5, a 7, and I know that's 1,000. I know my 6 ends in a 6, and I'm missing one number. I know my 7s, my terms add up to be 7. 3 plus 4 is 7, but 4 plus 3 is 7. I remember my 8s because my digits add up to be 8, so I either need a 1, 2 or 2, 1. 1 always comes before 2. I remember my 7s because the last digit's a 9 in this case. 7 plus something is 9. There's a 2. And guys, this one, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 should have been 16, 81, 256, and 625. Keep that sheet in front of you today. We're going to use that quite a bit. We'll use that thing quite a bit. So if you would, come over to your class examples here. Overall, guys, this should be an easy day. I will make it tougher next time, trust me. So look at your number 1. I'm going to click through these. My number 1 just says the square root of 81. What times what is 81? Well, we know that answer is 9. Now look at number 2. It says the cube root of negative 343. If you look on your sheet, you have a cube root of positive 343. That number was 7. Well, to get the negative, I need a negative 7. The only numbers, if you go back and look at your little chart here, this one can contain positives or negatives. This one and this one cannot contain any negatives because of the even power. But the cube root one can. Now number 3 is a little bit different. But after you see a couple of these guys, easy. I know the square root of 144 is 12. I'm now going to go p to the 6 divided by whatever number's here. If you don't see a number, it is 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. There's my answer. Moving on to number 4. There's a plus minus out front, so I need a plus minus. The square root of 4 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so this is a to the 5th. What I do to you next time is I don't let them come out to be easy. Okay? Now, you haven't done a 5th root, but think through this real fast, guys. I need some number times itself 5 times that will get me up to 243. So let's try 2 real fast. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. So 2's are gone. Let's try 3 real fast. Remember, you're doing all of this without a calculator. 3 times 3 is 9. There's another 9, so I'm up to 81. 81 times 3 is 243. So the 5th root of 243 is 3. P to the 10 divided by 5 is 2. So there's my answer, 3p squared. Number 6, don't be scared that I put extra variables in there. There's a negative out front, so I need a negative in my answer. The cube root of 27, if you look on your chart or your brain, is 3. M to the 6 divided by 3 is 2. N to the 9 divided by 3 is 3. So there's your answer, guys. I'm hoping you're thinking, man, this isn't too tough. I'm going to click through a lot of examples here, but nothing we can't handle. So here goes your number 7. Whoops, let me get back there. So hopefully I'm back. My pen's messing with me here. So, looks like my number 7 is going to be, I've got 12 divided by 3, so I've got the opposite of, because there's a negative right there, b to the 4th. If you look over onto your number 8, I need the square root of 16, which is 4. 10 divided by, there's a 2 hiding right there. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so I'm at a to the 5th. B to the 4th. Number 9 I've got covered up, but it's the square root of 121, which is 11. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so I've got 11x to the 3rd. Okay? Guys, when a quantity shows up, treat it the same way. There's a 2 right there, so take care of the exponent first. This really becomes 4k in parentheses. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now ask yourself, what's 4k times 4k? And the answer, 16k squared. So hopefully you got the hang of this going. Number 11, there's a positive negative out front, so I definitely need that. The square root of 169. So P can see if that's on your sheet. If it's not, we'll have to figure it out, but it is, so there's 13. R to the 4 divided by 2 is 2. Number 12, I've got a negative sign out front. Now be careful here. I need the cube root of negative 27. Well, I know the cube root of 27 is 3, but I need this negative sign with it. Then I've got p to the 3 divided by 3 is 1. Well, a negative and a negative make a positive, so my answer, 3p. Okay. On to number 13. There's a negative sign out front, so I need a negative sign. Now, guys, I don't know, do we? We don't go up to 625 on your square root chart, but can you figure out what times what is 625? If you have to, come off and go old school a little bit, but that's going to be 25. Y to the 2 divided by 2 is 1. You can put a 1 there if you want. Z to the 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there's our answer to number 13. You should like these because you're able to just look at them and get the answer. Here goes my number 14. Do each one. So guys, I'm going to do 36 q to the 34th over the square root of 49 r to the 4th. Well, the square root of 36 is 6. Q to the 34 divided by 2 is 17, all over 7. R to the 4 divided by 2 is 2. So guys, 1, your calculator is not helping you one bit. 2, these are kind of easy. Here's my number 15. You can't see it, but it's on your worksheet, so we're good. The square root of 100 is 10. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I got x to the first, y to the second, z to the third. And then we're done. Guys, if I was there, I'd pause and let you guys have 16 through 21. I'll just fly through them with you. The cube root of 125 is 5. B to the 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're done. Number 17, there's a 4 out there, so be careful. The fourth root of 16 is not 4, it is 2. A to the 12 divided by 4 is 3. B to the second. Number 18, if you look on your little chart, see if under the cube roots, if we got the cube root of 729, and we do, that's 9. A to the 15 divided by 3 is 5. B to the second. Okay, so there's all it is so far. I've got a couple more, guys, before I switch gears just a little bit, but nothing you can't handle. Number 19, there's a quantity, so leave that quantity alone. So go ahead and write down negative 2x real fast. Now, 8 divided by 4 is 2, so I've really got negative 2x quantity squared, but that simplifies. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4x squared. Boom. Another quantity on number 20. Let's go ahead and write down 11y squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now let's simplify this. 11 squared is 121. Y to the 2 times 2 is 4. So right there's your answer. Once again, I've got number 21 hid, but that's okay. It's right in front of you. Go ahead and write down your quantity of 5a squared and a b. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now let's simplify this. 5 squared becomes 25. A to the 4th, b squared. Okay. On number 22, go ahead and write down your quantity again. 3x minus 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my answer, 3x minus 1. Here's number 23. There's a quantity involved, so go ahead and write that down. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So there's a great answer. There's a great answer. If you want to expand it, you do not have to, but you could write that down and use FOIL on it. I would take either of these answers. To be truthful, if you want to make your life easiest, leave it as that first one right there. Okay. The reason I say that, look at your number 24. Go ahead and write down that quantity of 5a minus 2. 12 divided by 3 is 4. I do not want you to write this out 4 times and multiply it, so that's your answer. That is your answer. Okay, guys? Now, I know we said we're going to do most of this day without your calculator. I do want to make sure you know how to type things into your calculator. So if you would, have your calculator out now. Either my graphing calculator or your little easier calculator. I just want to make sure that you know how to write these real fast and type them in your calculator. Different calculators go different ways. If you have questions on it, ask Mrs. Jensen as she roams around if she's in the room. But guys, here goes. On 25, it says use a calculator to approximate each of these to 3 decimal places. So if you go ahead and type in 62 into your calculator and square root it, everybody in here has a square root on their calculator. You should get approximately 7.874. Make sure you round correctly. Now guys, I'm going to show you a method here to do the cube roots, fourth roots, fifth roots. It'll work for whatever calculator you have. I know that some of you have a cube root on your calculator. Go ahead and use that if you want. But here's how you could type this into your calculator. Put 0.054 in parentheses and hit your caret key and raise it to the 1 fraction key 3 power. Now if you're using one of my graphing calculators, you will do it this way. You will type 0.054 caret parentheses 1/3. You might type that in your calculator, guys, and make sure that you can get approximately 0.378. If you got something different, make sure you have this in parentheses, because some calculators will really mess that up. Okay. That little trick will work. Whatever this number is, turn it into a fraction with the 1 on top. So if you look at your 27, if we want to type this in your calculator, I'm going to go 0.545 caret, or y to the x, 1/4. There's a 4 out front, so 1/4. You should get about negative, because there's a negative out there, 1.528. Okay, so this is just some practice on your calculator. To do negative 15, I'm going to go negative 15. Since it's negative, though, put it in parentheses. Caret, or y to the x, 1/3. Put that in parentheses probably. Make sure that you're right. Make sure you know how to use your calculator. If you need to, pause the video, type it in, see if we agree with that number. To do 100 to the 5th power, I'm going to take 100 caret 1/5. That's all there is to it, and get about 2.512. So just a little bit of calculator work. Guys, on your homework, you're going to pretty much not use your calculator. On this one, I'm going to go 856 caret 1 divided by 6 in parentheses and get about 3.081. Okay, so that's all there is for a second. The reason I wanted to practice these a little bit with you is look at 31 and 32. Do not be scared that they are word problems. Do not be scared for that. I'll see if I can move this out of the way. And I did. So here goes, guys. Look at your number 31 as I get my ink back. It says the formula R equal the square root of 5L is used by police to estimate the speed R in miles per hour of a car if the length of the car's skid mark is measured in feet. If you've ever come upon an accident and you saw a policeman measuring the skid marks, that's what they're doing. They're figuring out how fast the cars were going. Estimate to the nearest tenth of a mile per hour the speed of a car that leaves a skid mark of 300 feet long. Well, your only choice, guys, this 300. Does that represent the R value or the L value? That's really your only choice. It says L is the skid mark and R is the speed. Here it says a 300-foot long skid mark. So the L is 300. Well, now here comes the easy part. R equal 2 times the square root of 5 times 300. Run this straight through your calculator. You'll go 2 times the square root of, put that in parentheses to make sure your calculator is going to do it for you. And guys, if you run that through your calculator, you should get about 77.5 miles per hour. It said round to the nearest tenth, so I needed 1 decimal. So guys, that's all there is. Read it and decide what they gave you. They'll either give you the D or the H or the L or the R. Here's my last one. It says the distance to the horizon, D, miles from a satellite orbiting H miles above. Man, that sounds complicated. But guys, here's something I already know. I know that it's D miles orbiting H miles above the Earth. So I know that H goes above the Earth. Can be approximated by this equation. 8,000 H plus H squared. What is the distance of the horizon if a satellite's orbiting 150 miles above the Earth? Well, guys, it looks like they gave us an H value of 150. Don't worry about rest of the word problem. Read it and decide what they gave you. Now, guys, you're going to do this. You're going to hit your square root button, and you're going to put all of this in parentheses so your calculator knows it's grouped. You're going to go 8,000 times 150 plus 150 squared, and then you're going to hit equal, or you're going to hit enter, whatever your calculator says, and you should get about 1,005 miles, 1,105 miles, 0.7 miles above the Earth. So make sure you can run that through, guys, and then you're going to be golden. Guys, that is day 6. Day 7's a tough day, so I'm glad that you missed this day over the next day, or I'm glad I missed. So, guys, that's the assignment. Good luck with it, and come see me if you have any questions.